The most positive development on Ukraine is the U.S. continues supporting Europe in this fight. Europe, Ukraine find out a modus vivendi somehow with a way to stop the war. But this is not the best scenario. Even the best scenario is not the best scenario if you look at it from the perspective of the Balkans. The Dayton Accords were signed in 1995. It's been 31 years. Kosovo War ended 27 years ago. But we still have a space of unfinished wars and unfinished states in construction. So this is not the best recipe for Ukraine either.
That's true. The European Union is extremely occupied by the war of aggression against Ukraine, but it should also be a wake-up call because there is a huge lack of strategic interest in the Western Balkans. The situation here in the Western Balkans is for too many people extremely frustrating because they worked hard for a European perspective, but at the end, political leaders, not just the leaders here in the capitals of the Western Balkans, but also the leaders in Brussels and Berlin and Paris, they didn't deliver. So, and in this political vacuum has been filled by Chinese, Russians, Turkish, and this is a problem for us because all these regimes don't share our values, and this is the big problem. So I very much hope that we learn from our big mistakes in Eastern Europe. Eastern Europe was for too many leaders a terra incognita. So, or we said, okay, it's part of Europe, but at the end, always Mr. Putin sits in the driver's seat. But these countries are not Russian territory. They are sovereign, independent countries, and they make their own decisions. And if they want to join us, and if they want to share our values, we cannot say, please call the Kremlin and wait for the permission. That was the assessment, and that was the understanding of too many political leaders in Germany and in the European Union. So I very much hope that we invest much more creativity, much more engagement, also money and commitment here in the Western Balkan states, because you already mentioned it. The situation is worrying. Still 5 European states don't recognize the national sovereignty of Kosovo. I don't see any lasting strategy for Bosnia and Herzegovina. Dayton delivered peace, but it's not the path towards the European Union. Serbia became an authoritarian country which attacks his neighbors. And I'm not really happy with some authoritarian tendencies here in the region. The worst example from my point of view is North Macedonia. This amazing country changed its state name with a clear expectation to start accession talks with the European Union because Macedonia was, if it comes to economy, to single market, etc., for a very long time, a role model for others. Then they changed their name, they delivered, they met all the criteria and the conditions of the European Union, and then first the French started to present new conditions, followed by the Bulgarians who present new conditions, and at the end, the pro-European parties failed, and the more nationalistic, more Eurosceptic parties won the elections.